are semi-funded. They're still being studied, but they think, we haven't, to be honest with you, we haven't paved the street in 2 years or anything really.
Oh my God.
We went with the county fire because we couldn't afford really to bring in those numbers of people to keep it operating. If we ramped up to what a consultant said for the manpower, we still would have paid a tremendous amount of overtime. Currently, our firefighters are working 5 days, 24-hour shifts in a row. So we decided we needed to look somewhere else. We're going to get more services with the county. Currently, the city, we have a lot of infrastructure. All our civic buildings need to be repaired. We haven't repaired those in years. And what happened is we hired a consultant, and the consultant came in and said, between 8 and 14 million, we need a new firehouse. County comes in and says, we can fix it for 2 million. So cities keep hiring these consultants. They love spending our money. I'm in the construction business, and I knew we could probably rehab that station for less than 3. And there's a lot, we always want to build these, we're going to build, the current Green Globbers want to build net zero bathrooms. Now, I don't know really what that looks like. So I went and talked to the architect, and I said, well, where's the flat roof with the parapet around it, like you see in Pompeii, and the water went in the ground into a cistern? He said, well, we're not doing that. I said, okay, where's the gray water system? We're not doing that. I said, well, what are we doing here? I said, I thought it was net zero. He said, no, we're building to the green code. I said, well, isn't that a structure in California that you cannot build to the green code? It's required by the state. These bathrooms are going to cost, now these are public restrooms, $1,600 a square foot. Wow. We're building houses on the Strand for around $800 a square foot. And of course, that's not for $25 million, mostly the property.
Wow.
But I've been in construction for 35 years, and I understand.
Sounds like a really shitty deal.
I have probably 40 people working for me. I would do anything from hang the door for you to frame 100-unit apartment houses and things like that. But in Hermosa, I love the city. I want to move us in the right direction. I'm getting a great feedback when I campaign, and they're glad that I'm running, because I really am. When I was even on the council, the voice of reason and do things correctly. And just a real quick story. I went and knocked on a gentleman's door, and he said, "What party are you?" I said, "Well, it's nonpartisan." "What party are you?" I said, "Nonpartisan." "You Republican, Democrat?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm a Republican, but it's nonpartisan." "Well, I'll talk to you then, I guess." But it's kind of funny how we get kind of mixed up in this. But I've always been a Republican and carry those values with me. So I feel that I think we're going to see 2 new people up there. Hopefully Trent and I will be up there, and that'll probably shake them up a little bit, because they'll still have a 3-2 majority. But I think we can make inroads when we have the public come back in and actually be able to voice their opinions, and we on the DS are going to listen. So I just want to thank you again for your support and your endorsement. You can go to my website, electpetertucker.com, and all my information's there. There's a donation page there, and what I've done, and anything else that people have asked me about. So once again, I want to thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll be back here with the victory party. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Thanks a lot, Peter. Good. We're not going to, we got like about, I think there's 3 seats. There's 1 incumbent or 2 incumbents, and there's 1 that's open, but hopefully we can get rid of those incumbents as well. So that's really important. And for our last guest, we have John Cruikshank, who's running for Rancho Palos Verdes. So give him a warm round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Easier than Singapore, right?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Krista. So there's 2 Republicans running in Rancho Palos Verdes, Krista Johnson and myself. I think Krista had the opportunity to speak last month. Thank you for having me tonight. So right now I'm a planning commissioner. I'm the chairman of the planning commission in Rancho Palos Verdes. I kind of consider that kind of a farm team for being on the city council. Not a lot of people from planning commissions actually win council seats, because it's not always the most popular position to have. Right? You always have half the people that hate your decision, and the other half love your decision. And so you probably need to do a little better than that. So I'm a civil engineer. I've done that for 30 years. I run my own company. I've had my own company in San Pedro. Well, it's been in San Pedro for about 15 years, but I've run that for 21 years. And I've lived in Rancho Palos Verdes for about 13 years. I finally was able to afford it. I talked to a lot of people that were there a long, long time, and they were fortunate enough to buy back when, or they were smart enough to buy back when you could afford it. And so I love the city. The reason I'm running is because even though we don't have some of the huge issues, we certainly have the state of California that's pushing against us all the time. We also have a lot of big infrastructure issues that we talk about in a lot of our forums. And as a civil engineer, I feel like I have an opportunity to really help the city. Being one of the 5 members as a licensed civil engineer, I can really give back to the community. So that's why I'm doing it. So I have a quick story. I know Pete mentioned a story about when he was walking. So same thing, nonpartisan race, but when you have the walk sheets, you know if they're Democrats or Republicans. And because it's going to be a low voter turnout, we're probably going to get 17, 18% of the vote, the registered voters actually casting ballots because it's an odd year. I know who's a Republican or Democrat. So when they ask me, are you Republican or Democrat? I always tell them I'm a Republican, but I also say, like was said, that it's a nonpartisan race. But one guy knew he was a Republican. He had a great house for a sign, just a beautiful location on a corner and everything, beautiful lawn. And so first thing I said, I'm a Republican. He said, okay, if Donald Trump came to your house today and said, would you put 2 signs in your yard for me right now, would you do it? And I said, hell yeah.
Good.
Good, bring 2 signs out and put them on my lawn. So, sometimes we hear all this negativity in the press about Republicans and Trump and all that stuff. But I'll tell you right now, and I know Krista could tell you the same thing, that as we're walking, certainly in our city, there's a lot of people that support the president, and they support the Republican Party. And so you can kind of feel, and I grew up here, I'm a 3rd generation Southern Californian, and so you can kind of feel that there's a groundswell of people starting to believe again in the Republican Party. My concern is, and this group is awesome, because I went to one of these events many, many years ago, and I'm glad to see it's still here at the Sizzler. There were very few people, and those of you that have been coming to these for many years. And so I know Peter's done a great job, and the rest of you have done a great job of rebuilding this group. And so that really makes me feel good, because sometimes it's hard to be a Republican because people are always so negative about that, and I know you guys are strong enough to stand up to that. And so I could talk more about myself now, but I just wanted to really have the message that I think it's great to be a Republican. I think we've had 40 years of horrible leadership, and I think we have an opportunity to change things. We just need to be strong. And so that's really the message I wanted to come out tonight. Certainly the elections in a few weeks, and Chris and I both want your vote. There's 2 open seats. There's 3 Democrats running against us. Real quick story about that too, and I'll go. But there's a gentleman there that's running for office. He's a Democrat, and he got a $10,000 campaign contribution from a Republican, a gentleman named Philip Chen. I don't know if you know him. I don't know him. The claim is that he's his godfather of one of his kids, and he said that during the debate. But the reality is that Philip Chen didn't give his personal money. He gave $10,000 from his campaign. So that means people like you are donating to Republicans, and that money's going to Democrats. Wow. And that's totally unacceptable to me. Now, I've made my point clear about that. So just to let you know, we can't eat our own. We really can't. So we need to be aware of those things. We need to push back because we need to support our party. So anyhow, the election's in 2.5 weeks, November 7th. If you have friends in Rancho Palos Verdes, certainly tell them to vote for me and for Krista, and to support us. And we're in this phase of weeding phony, so if you have time to do some phoning from your house, let me know. We always need money, as Trent said. That's always something we need. I've done fairly well with raising money. I'm pretty close to my goal. And who knows how it's going to happen, what's going to happen on November 7th. We're hoping for the best. But I appreciate all your support, and thanks.
All right, thank you so much.